launch and Horse Mint. I really wanted to just update everybody on what we're focused on, what we're working on, and a lot of it ties into, obviously, community growth is one of the components, but I think it's really important for everybody to know what's going on behind the scenes. And really, we started with the top of the funnel in terms of the things that we were working on, and we're now getting very, very tight in terms of our focus. So I want to just share, the highlights of what we're focused on as we march to this critical path that we see as our game launch. And I'm reminded every day we're about to enter June, and our drop is going to be likely at the end of September. So we really are 4 months away. Time moves very quickly, and I pop my head up and I'm like, where did time go? So here's what we're focused on. The number one, and I'm doing this actually in the order of priorities for our team and what we're doing. The number one priority for us right now is to grow our community, and I know everybody's aware of that. By our estimates, we have close to 2,000 wallets. If you include the tokens that have not been distributed to wallets yet, we're hovering around that point. We would like to see the wallets at north of 4,000, probably close to 5,000 once we drop the balance of the avatars. And so that's our target. We have 4 months to get there, and we have a plan to do that. And I'm excited to share with you the high level of what we're going to be doing and how we're going to approach it. I'm not going to get into very granular data right now, other than to say that we're working on a lot of this stuff. But I will share with you our direction and our strategy. So we see kind of our KPIs, our key performance indicators, in terms of our success being the sell-through of the balance of the collection, the growth of our individual wallets, which indicates how many people are actually going to be playing the game, the growth in our Discord engagement. Growth in Discord would be a great KPI, but it's really hard to measure. There are so many bots that come and go, and we think engagement is more important than the size of the community, especially when it's hard to measure. And finally, peripherally, I don't like to use the secondary market floor because, when you say floor, you really have to look at it in the context of the depth of the market. So it's meaningless unless you actually look at the depth of the market. But I would say that kind of the moving average value of our avatars, which is very easy to track and probably most relevant. When you look at where is our average transaction price? So if you look at the last 90 days on OpenSea, it's approximately 0.32. And that's a much more, I think, relevant data point for us to track. So those are our KPIs. Now, how are we going to do this? We're in the process of planning a massive, let me say that again, massive marketing campaign to launch the sale of our second batch of avatars. The value of that collection is, measured in millions of dollars based on the average price of transaction in our current collection and the quantity. So the market cap of the collection is quite significant, and our intention is to, spend somewhere in the mid six figures, approaching the low seven figures, to make sure anybody and everybody that should know about our project knows about our project. And the campaign will be driven around the mint. So our intention right now is convert that we're using for the mint to allow for people to actually be able to hold on to the identity capsules that produce the avatars and time when they have them revealed. So it's something a little different. It'll create, I think, differentiation and a little more value. And then for us to literally execute on a multi-prong campaign to literally create massive amounts of awareness. So that is something we're working on. We think we're about 30 days away from the launch of the campaign and of the sale. We do not have the pricing, which I'm sure is going to be a question, figured out yet. We're working on that. We're going to have a major update to our website, which will kind of be more in line with our broad story and not as focused on the avatar where the website is right now. And we're also going to be incorporating e-commerce technology to support credit cards and to support people that don't have a MetaMask wallet. So we've been talking to several companies that provide this to create less friction and to allow us to more broadly market to the horse racing community, fantasy community, gaming community, etc. So that is very much our number one focus right now. All hands on deck, working with a variety of resources. And we think we're about 30 days away, and we'll have more updates for you on actual timing and many more updates as we finalize the size of the budget, as we finalize the pricing for the avatars and any other things that we think are relevant. So that's the kind of the big focus. That's number one on our list. Number two on our list is our existing community, ensuring that we are living up to our ethos, which is the ethos of this company and the ethos of this platform is to build our constituency by creating massive value for our early adopters. And that is something very much in the forefront of our direction and our strategy. And so, that includes the continued growth in the value of our assets. It includes airdrops. It includes other forms of value that will continue to be delivered to the community. And so, without being specific about timing, etc., it is very much a part of what our communities, what our internal team is focused on. It's number two on our list. In addition to that, community engagement, more AMAs that are very specific to our development and our roadmap and our progress. So as we get closer to the to this coming drop, as we get closer to the horse mint, as we get closer to releasing the Metaverse to functionality, we'll continue to create engagement within the community through AMAs. I had mentioned committees. We're still working on fine-tuning that program, but that's something that we'll launch soon to allow people that want to get involved in shaping the direction of various facets of the product and platform to be able to do that. We'll be releasing a survey very soon, which is something that I promised the community so that we can begin to get your input on pricing of our horses, land, structures, and other things. So the first pass of that is going to be a survey to really take in the data from the community. And then once we have kind of a bearing of where everybody's head is at, we'll then fine-tune that and go deeper and use that as a process to arrive at where we're going to price everything out. That's going to happen sooner rather than later. So I would expect to see that again also within the next 30 to 45 days. And finally, and this is just a teaser, it's not an announcement, it's a teaser. We're starting the process of working on a live focus group program in which we'll bring together a diverse group from within the community to meet and facilitate all kinds of dialogue around learning about who we all are so that we can literally find the same type of people that are interested in what we're doing to grow the community. So you can expect to see an application for the live focus group, and those of you that will be interested in participating will be able to apply. I don't have a lot of details around it yet, but I just wanted everybody to know, excuse me, to know that that's coming.
Could you reiterate the live part again, just in case anyone missed it?
Yeah, sorry. It's going to be a live focus group, which means that we will select from the applicants a group of people to fly them in to a central location and have a full day, maybe a 2-day meeting focused around silks and focused around our community, and really get very close to a cross section of our early adopters to help us learn as much as we can, so that we can really kind of develop a profile around who our community members are, and begin to use that data to be able to market to and develop and do all kinds of things that speak to our community, because at the end of the day, this platform is by and for our community. So that's the second. Again, recapping: grow our community, develop our existing community through our ethos and through engagement. The third thing that we're working on, that a large chunk of our team is working on, is the development of our platform, our MVP, our minimum viable product. Now, that is essentially what is going to exist and kick off the platform when we drop our horses. So we have a team between our internal development and our development of the MVP through our technology partner. We have a full-time group of about 25 people that are working just on the technology and on the supporting aspects of the technology. And that's full force. We have, I participate in meetings on a daily basis. They can go for 2 to 3 hours, all focused on just ironing out the kinks around the game theory, around the user interfaces, smart contracts, everything that's going to operate the platform. And I'm very excited that we'll be able to start updating the community as we begin to make progress on the development. So the team is working on we have 4 months to basically take what we've built and expand it to create a scalable platform for us to be able to engage on and create a lot of the gamification and functionality for when we release the horses. And I can tell you that at a high level, we haven't finalized everything yet, but it's looking like we're going to be able to deliver more than we originally anticipated. And I'll have more updates on that. We'll have AMAs dedicated just to the development of the platform, and sneak peeks and things like that as they surface. So that's something that's going to be coming up, and will be plentiful over the course of the next 4 months. The fourth thing that we're focused on is exploring the possibility of doing another round of capital. We have a lot of interest from within the crypto and NFT and Web3 VC community. So I continue to have those dialogues. And we're also exploring potentially using a crowdfunding platform that could allow us to create a path to grow our community, in part through allowing people to invest in the game of silks at the corporate level. So that's something we're working on. Again, very early stages, but wanted to inform you guys that it's something that we'll probably be talking about in the coming weeks and probably turning on in the next 30 days. So I'm super excited about that. So those are the things that we're focused on. I'll talk about just a couple of other things before we open it up for Q&A. Just highlight some of the things that are going on in our orbit. Those of you, I'm sure many of you are aware that we had a breach in our Discord. I believe it was last weekend. Wanted to update you guys on what happened and how we responded to it. One of our mods was hacked. The hacker took over the account, and it was done through. Again, all of these hacks occur when people click on things they're not supposed to click on. End of story, right? So Metamask is safe until you click on a scam site, and then your wallet is drained. So the easiest way to protect yourself against being scammed, and most of us have, is to put your assets in a wallet that you don't use to buy things, buy them through a burner wallet, and then transfer the asset. Or keep it in cold storage. And I see that many of you have done that as well. But as it relates to Discord, one of our mods clicked on a link, not in our server, but it took over their account, and they were able to make a modification in our announcement section and put a scam link in there. We caught it immediately because the mod actually didn't have a right to update the announcement, and so when we saw it, we immediately shut it down. We knew it was a scam. Unfortunately, a few people were affected by it. Because it took place within our server, within the announcement section, we made an internal decision that we are going to distribute from our reserves avatars to those people that were affected on a 1-to-1 ratio. If you were affected by it and you haven't received your avatar yet, please put a ticket in and we'll make sure that we'll get it to you as soon as possible. I do want to make clear that these are discretionary decisions that we make based on what happened, and we'll continue to do that as necessary. We want to protect our community. We continue to reinforce the fact that if something looks too good to be true, it's not true. We do not DM people directly, as everybody knows, on an unsolicited basis. And we will never post these flash announcements causing you to act immediately on something. So if you see something like that within our server, it should be a signal that you shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't click on it. And I think we've been consistent with that throughout, and we'll continue to reinforce this as we continue to secure the server. We've added additional security to the server. There's a balance between making it too hard to get in and then losing potential new members. So we have to find that balance. But wanted to update everybody on that. And then, of course, the overall crypto market continues to be soft. We do have a nice balance between fiat and crypto in our accounts, and so we're not affected by it right now, and we hope not to be. Personally, I don't like to respond to things that I have no control over, or get upset about things that I have no control over, and that's how I live my personal life. We are in a solid financial position right now and are not affected by the markets. Although if they continue to decline over a long period of time, it'll affect everybody. And we're aware of that, and we have our pulse on the market, and we'll continue to watch it. But as of right now, we're not concerned at all. I'll say, one other thing. We internally use software that allows us visibility into the market in ways that the average consumer doesn't access. So there are many tools that have been developed to consolidate all the transparencies within the market to be able to see what's going on. I use a tool called Nansen. That's spelled Nansen. There are other tools like it. There's a tool called Icy Tools. There are probably a dozen like this. These tools give you very in-depth views of the market and allows us to really understand how many people are really individually holding our avatars. How many people own one? How many people own multiples? It gives us visibility into movements and trades and really understanding what's going on. And we interpret that data internally to understand our community and how they're behaving with our assets. And granted, our community is on a smaller scale relative to other communities. As it grows, the data will become more relevant. One of the features in their tool set is our indexes. And so what they do is they index the market just like you would the stock market. So if you were indexing industrials or technology or biotech or other categories, you'd be able to look at cross sections in the market that are relevant to the areas that you're interested in. Now, we are a Metaverse company, and so a large portion of our assets involve avatars and involve real estate and structures. We're also a play to earn, a form of a game that's play to earn. So we kind of cross the two different categories. They track an index that they refer to as Metaverse 20, which tracks kind of the leading Metaverse companies and how their assets are moving. And currently, year to date, the Metaverse Index, the Nansen Metaverse Index, is up 21%. So it looks pretty healthy. It's actually been growing over the last month. So people, and this indicates that people are investing in NFTs that relate to metaverses. By example, if you look at their overall NFT index, which is their NFT 500, which I assume tracks the top 500 market caps in NFTs, it's up 6% year to date. And if you look at their gaming metaverse, which tracks the top 50 games, now remember, games is a very big category, so we don't think that's very relevant to us, although it does touch us to some degree. That's down 58%. So we look at these things. We like the fact that that metaverse right now is a hot category and that it's growing. So that's something we look at. And when I look at the market, I focus on that much more than I focus on Ethereum. I focus on what is the sentiment of the consumer, because it's the consumer that's going to become a member of our community. And that's most relevant. So that's what I have to share for this morning as an update. And I can already sense that as we kind of begin to move on our critical path towards the horse mint and towards the official game launch, there's going to be so much content to share with you guys. and it'll be much more granular. So I'm excited to get there. And I hope that the information that we shared today was helpful. And one last thing, which I want to just shout out, is we really had a lot of fun watching one of our community members this weekend, I think it was. They're I guess I'm just looking at your icon right now, Triple Crown, I think it's Triple Crown JC.
Yep.
Who took their silks avatar, created real silks, and dressed their jockey as their avatar essentially, and raced that way. And they shared pictures on Discord. It's really exciting to see that. And they won the race, which was even more exciting. So, it's these kind of things that make a real difference, that, tell us that we're touching the community and they're beginning to take this in directions that we could only imagine. So thank you for that. And we're just super excited about what you did. And, we're certain there's more of that to come as we begin to blur the lines between virtual and real. So thank you for that. And that's all I got. So Ben, Squid, if you guys would like to open it up for some Q&A, I've got about 20 minutes and happy to take any questions that are out there.
Sounds good. We'll open it up. Yeah, big shout out to Triple Crown Jockeys. It's so sick. How's it going?
Adam, we can't hear you.
If anyone else wants to, raise your hand and come up, and then we'll wait for Adam's mic to get going here.
Hang on, I'm just seeing if this is a permissions thing. 1 sec.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Good morning.
Well, yeah, thank you for the shout out there, and again, thank you for what you're doing. It's just so inspiring that yes, we do believe that there are many different ecosystems and things that can be generated from this. But it was a true honor to put our avatar on the back of our jockey, and it created quite a buzz at the racetrack because nobody had ever seen anything like it, and so we intend to continue to embrace the want and the desire for people to come out to the racetrack, and we intend to continue to hold events. We had uh, on the opening day we had about 45 people that we invited out, had them up in the grandstands and the boxes. The weather wasn't the greatest, but it still didn't deter the people from coming out. And then this last weekend we had great weather here and great crowds, and that's when we happened to have an opportunity to get in the winner's circle with our silk. So I just want to continue to thank you for what you're doing. We intend to be working with you guys and building our business inside of your metaverse, because our stuff that we're doing in our project, it works well within what you're doing, and it's not competitive at all. It's all about bringing more people into the community, into the racetrack. So thank you.
Well, we're excited. We're excited to have you, and it's not our metaverse. It's all of our metaverse. This is a community-owned platform, so it's as much of yours as it is ours, and we're excited for what you're doing. Can you share with the community, where geographically you raced, and I know you won that one of the races. What the prize purse was?
Sure. Yeah, we geographically we're up in the Great Pacific Northwest. Sometimes it feels like we're in South Alaska, and we race at Emerald Downs and Turf Paradise in Phoenix, mainly between those two locations. But we have expanded out, and we intend to be racing in a lot of other areas, including Kentucky. We're licensed in Kentucky, and so hopefully these silks will be seen, in many different places here eventually. But we raced in 3 races this last weekend. The purse structure, varies between, what levels we're running at. The particular horse that we ran with, that was his 11th win that he has had at Emerald Downs. He's raced 14 times at other tracks and is 0 for 14, but he is 11 for 26 at Emerald Downs, which is a darn good percentage. And we also are doing something with our project that we are starting to fulfill our vault with earnings. And so a portion of those earnings that we receive go into a vault that will eventually be a part of our DAO as well, too.
Thank you for sharing. Super excited about what you're doing.
Thanks, guys.
Big shout out to Buckley Bay for taking it home. What a race that was.
Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, no, I took live. I didn't get a chance, but I went back and watched the replay.
Looks like Adam's mic's not working.
All right, while we're waiting and before Eddie jumps on, I did forget to mention one thing, which was on my list, which is that we're working on the DAO charter, and I will have an update for the community as we get closer to getting it formed, and I'm hoping that that's in the next 30 days as well. So I actually just looked back at my list and realized I didn't update everybody on that. So.
I also want to give a shout out to one of your moderators, Dragon, who's on here. What a great family! Brought his family out to the racetrack, and we hosted him and his in-laws along with his wife and child, and his son was just amazing with the horses down at the barn. I mean, they just took right to him, and he took to them. It was really fun to see.
That's awesome.
Dan, that's great.
Hi, Eddie.
Thank you for doing this Q&A about growth. I have just one comment, and I don't know if it's something you think something should pursue, but I've been looking into getting data on horses, and yes, there is Equibase, and there are many databases out there that you can pay or even have free queries against. But you need to know the horse you're looking at. Second, you can't really get it en masse to understand the entire market of current horses. For example, I don't even know how to get the list of current thoroughbred horses in the US, so I can even query about them. So my question is, would the DAO or Game of Silks consider creating an access to those kind of resources also as a way to attract more people if the database is more valuable than what currently is being served by other sites? And by that, I mean, I don't just want to know for a current horse what his pedigree is 9 generations backwards. I also want to know siblings. I want to know what other horses exist at the same time. I mean, there's a lot more questions that are not easily answered by current databases. And you obviously have the software engineering resources and the large mass of users that we are as a leverage against those companies in order to grant us access to either the data or more elaborate queries. So my question is it something that you would consider doing?
So in our roadmap, we actually have a very elaborate crowdsourcing scheme to create a proprietary database. And it's something that is not part of the MVP, so it's not going to be released in the early stages. But what I can tell you is that every point of data that you're looking for to discover around horses exists. There just isn't one tool that brings it all together. We intend to develop ways for our community to be able to access any type of data they want by either pointing them to that data or by structuring an agreement or an API with some of these data sources to be able to actually grab the data and present it within the metaverse. So, for example, you will be able to, when you get your horse, as part of the MVP, you'll be able to identify who your horse is, because your horse is unlikely to have a name when they're 1 year old. You'll be able to identify all of the data around the productivity of the siblings, the productivity of the parents, earnings, breeding, how the offsprings have done. And we're going to teach you how to access all this information, whether it's directly through our portal or whether it's through outside sources. There are literally hundreds of independent, if not thousands of independent sites that host this type of data, and they're cut in different ways. And they can take time to navigate and figure out. But everything that you're looking for, you'll be able to find through our platform. And we're going to be hosting, as we get closer to the mint, we'll be hosting all kinds of AMAs showing our audience how to navigate the information and be able to kind of assemble it. When you look at the closest thing to what we're doing is fantasy football, right? And so when you look at fantasy football, for those of you that play the game, you rely on third-party sources to acquire data to tell you what's going on in the world of football. So you might decide, I need a new quarterback. So let me look at the stats on the quarterbacks that are available, or on all the quarterbacks to decide which one I want to go with. I have to look at, how many points did they get the last 10 games, and how did they get those points, and who are they playing this week, and what does their schedule look like beyond that? In horse racing, it's the same thing, except you're looking at different subsets of data. And there really isn't one central repository, so we will be building that. More importantly, the databases are going to be contextual to our platform, which means that if you're looking for a horse, if you want to buy a horse, right after the mint, you want to build a stable. You got one horse, but now you want to buy in the aftermarket more horses. Where do you start? And so we're going to give you tools that allow you to sort our NFTs by all kinds of information that does not exist in the public today. So there is no database of yearlings that you can just look at, or none that I'm aware of. We'll be building those tool sets out so that you can identify, you can set a bunch of criteria. Show me horses that were sold at auction for over $500,000 that have certain characteristics that you're looking for, that have siblings that are racing that have earned X amount of money. And we will literally show you those NFTs, and that will filter the entire population to you. And it may come down to 5 NFTs, and maybe one of them is available for sale. So you'll be using a lot of that data to navigate, what you want to buy, what you want to sell, and how to identify the horses that you're going to want to build into your stables.
That's awesome. So just to be clear, will this be available before the reveal, or that would be later?
No. Our intention is that what I just described to you will be integrated into our MVP. So you'll be able to do that day one. We want to make sure when you get your horses that they have real utility. And one of the first points of utility is trading, is pinhooking, is acquiring horses. And so we're going to empower you with all of those tools right out of the gate.
That's great. That's great. I want to pivot real quick, and you can, say this is something for later discussion. I'm confused about the wording in the white paper regarding stables and land. You're basically saying there won't be more than enough stables in the first year to house 10,000 horses, which means 1,000 stables, or depending on the size of the stable. But will there be released more than 10,000 plots of land?
So we're going to release, it's a good question. We're going to release into the market as much land as we believe is needed in the beginning, so that it's not overwhelming and so that the market is tightly controlled within our community. And as our community grows, we will create different areas within the metaverse to create new communities and release new land. But without giving away too much information right now, what I can tell you is that the first area within the metaverse that we will be releasing land in is going to be a very special area that will be only available to our Genesis community. And I'm not going to give you any more information other than that.
It's already a lot. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Let's try this again. Can you hear me now?
There you are. We can hear you loud and clear, Adam.
Look at that. Thank you very much. So first and foremost, thank you for having me up again. And I'm also glad Avatar 1273 found their way to the main stage and may not be lost anymore. That's a pretty cool avatar.
I agree. I see it in our audience.
What is he doing here?